Hey guys, welcome out. Cory here with Ramona Press Studio coming at you yet again. You know, you guys are used to seeing me do design videos all the time, but today I'm gonna try my hand at some screen printing. So let's jump into that. So like I said, you guys know me in the design world, but I lately have been trying my hand at some poster printing. I've done a couple stuff for Catch Wind and that sort of thing, and I've just been doing some really simple stuff, really not trying to push my luck. You know, I've been doing brown paper, black ink, and it's been going really well. But I'd like to up the challenge for myself, and I am gonna attempt to print a two-color print on black paper. Right out the gate, I've never printed a two-color print in my life, let alone two-colored water-based on paper that's black. I've heard that the hardest way to print posters is on black paper, and so might as well just do all of that for the first time ever on camera. Nothing could go wrong, you know? I think Jared and I were talking, and I was like talking about shark tattoos and they're cool, and then we were like, tiger tattoos are also cool, and then we were like, wait a second, is there such thing as a tiger-shark mashup? Because we've heard of the tiger shark, you know, but have you seen the real tiger shark? And so then I was like, dude, I gotta draw it, I'm making it, it's coming to life. And so that's what I decided to do for this poster print. I drew a tiger shark. And it's a shark with a tiger face. Why don't you guys just come along on this journey with me of kind of figuring out how to do this and see if we can make it happen. So with these posters, I'm printing with water-based ink. So I'm using this 200 mesh, and the emulsion, I think it's the complete emulsion, so it's good for water-based, it's through base layer. And yeah, so gonna throw our little transparencies on there and burn these screens. So we burned both of our screens. They both came out really, really good, and tossed them in the drying cabinet, and they should be ready to go in like, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. Now that our screens are in the drying cabinet, while we wait, we can mix up our ink. And so we're using water-based ink, and we're gonna use the Green Galaxy Fusion system for this guy. We found our Pantone, put it in the Fusion system, like mixing system. The Pantone is actually 7563U. That's for uncoated, because water-based is uncoated, where it doesn't have that glossy finish to it. It's more matte. Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure all of my colors are perfectly mixed thoroughly, you know, so you really gotta just keep going. I think it always likes to stick to the edges and the bottom, so I always just try to be intentional. Really get in there, you know, mix that freaking ink. All right, so we got our ink mixed up, our screens are good to go. And I want to talk a little bit about my Platen setup and what I got going. First off, you might notice that I am not in our normal space, but this is our front room, and the old faithful old OG Golden Press is what I'm going to be using today to print this stuff. So on our Platen, I put down some water-based adhesive, and I just smeared it around there. Not crazy sticky, but you know, sticky enough. We just don't want our paper slipping and sliding. Also for the paper, I think I got it from FrenchPaper.com, something like that. Company, who knows? There'll definitely be some type of link somewhere. This is 70 weight paper. I'm not super stoked on it being 70 weight. I prefer it to be 100 weight, but I'm pretty sure it'll still get the job done and work. I guess they just only had this size paper. I wanted black paper. It's this speckle tone, just kind of has a little bit of a, I don't know, speckly hue to it. And I wanted it to be 8.5 by 11 because it's a good size for kind of smaller little posters. So yeah, so the paper's a little thinner than I want it to be. I'd recommend 100 weight. It just feels better in your hands, feels a little more substantial, and yeah, but by faith, this will print like a dream. So we shouldn't have any issues, hopefully. So we have to register our 2-color poster print. How we're gonna go about doing that is we got our trusty old T-square, a Sharpie, and we got our transparency down here. On our Platen, we've established our center line, and I have the transparency that we printed off to burn our screens, and I've taped that down perfectly in the center on that center line. Something that was really, really helpful that I did was before I printed out this transparency, I added these extra little edge lines that I knew our paper was going to be 8.5 by 11, and so I just did these little L brackets on our transparency. So first thing I'm going to do is mark our horizontal line and have our transparency there. All I have to do is take our T-square, line it up to match that horizontal line that I have on our transparency, and I'm just going to draw that right there on our Platen. So now that we know where our paper is going to be laying on our Platen, we know where the design is going to be hitting on that paper. Now we got to get our screens to line up with all that. So we're going to leave our transparency still taped down here, and all you got to do, pull your screen down, and if you have micro adjustments, you can do that, or you can just work really hard at lining up those registration marks just at the same place with the ones on your transparency. And you just have to do that with both the screens. Now all I got to do, tape off those registration marks and throw some ink in there, and then we can start printing. Man, hopefully this works, right? Wow, that didn't work. Well, that did not work at all. So this is actually my first time ever doing black posters, and I had a feeling that there was potential of this happening. Probably if I asked around, someone of wiser knowledge than me could have told me this. So the issue that I'm running into right now with this whole thing is that the ink is like not bright enough, and I did multiple passes on it just to see what it takes, and I don't know what it takes. So I'm gonna have to do some research and figure out how to make this work.
Well, looks like we're going to have to probably just call it for today and try again tomorrow.
Okay, well, we've been on a journey of learning how to do this. I, as you guys know, I'm a designer. I don't screen print very often, and so yesterday we ran into just a problem because the ink that we were using was not working well on the paper. So I reached out to some people. I reached out to Tony from Ramona Press. He's a good friend of ours, and he gave me some insight. I reached out to another friend that essentially made some of this ink, and he gave me some insight as well. So we actually ended up using the Comet White water-based ink. It's still, I think, in the Green Galaxy family, and we used that as our white, and that shows up. I did a little test with that just to make sure that would work, and it looks good. It looks real good. And then Josh, some of you guys know him. There he is somewhere. He had an idea of instead of using like the mixing fusion white, to use the Comet White as kind of like our base to give it thickened up. Kind of thicken it up a bit, and then mix in our colors, and we're about to find out if that worked. We got our stuff set up, and we're gonna give it a go and see if we can print some posters today. Well, it freaking worked. Who would have thought? I was a little worried after our endeavors yesterday. I'm just gonna kind of lay them out. They can actually air dry on their own because they're water-based ink, but I'll probably run them through the conveyor dryer as well afterwards. Things to think about with the conveyor dryer is try not to let the paper curl. If you see it curling, that could be a bad thing. This stuff's a little thinner, so I was a little worried about the curling, but it actually seems to do pretty good. Something with our conveyor dryer, we raised the heating element up pretty high, just I think maximum height. Also, like while it's going through, you might see some smoke, and that's a good thing. That's just the moisture coming out of the ink. That's what you want. You want to let the ink dry. I'm doing wet on wet, and the reason I'm doing wet on wet is because you can't flash poster paper, because then it will curl and it will not be on, and your registration get all messed up. Well, what a journey we have been on. We had some ups, we had some downs, and we had some ups again. Who would have thought that it all worked out? I really am stoked that it did work out, because I was pretty scared and worried halfway through this whole thing, that I was like, wow, this video just is gonna flop like a fish, because freaking, what are you gonna do? It didn't work. But very grateful for everyone along this journey that gave me some knowledge, gave me some insight, and helped out. Hopefully you guys maybe picked up some tips and tricks along the way of poster printing and maybe even just some screen printing stuff. But yeah, man, black posters, they're a little challenging. You know, they're a little more tough than just your standard white or light brown. But man, I'm really happy with how the posters turned out. I think they're super cool. Good old tiger shark, you know, just something that I dreamed up in my heart, and now it's a reality. Who would have thought? If you're interested in picking up some of these bad boys, I think we printed like 22 of them, roughly, give or take. I need to do another double count. But they'll be up on our website, and you can pick them up. They're pretty cool. Maybe hang it in your studio or hang it in your home. But yeah, so there you go. Thanks for coming along with us on this journey of poster printing. Maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't. Maybe you just enjoyed watching me struggle. But we love you. We'll see you there. We'll see you in the air. See you in the next video. And we'll arf on you later, little doggies. Arf!